Hey everybody, it's Lee here, and today I was at work and I was trying to think of something I could do for a video to get it put up. Teresa's not home, so she can't babysit me on this. Anyhow, I come up with this title because I know a few people that they're full of all kinds of just plain useless knowledge. I mean, they don't bring nothing to the table on a conversation at all. So anyhow, that's why I named this video Useless Knowledge, when actually this is knowledge that I've learned through the years of my life, different things that I've done, and I've had to learn from some of these things. So I'm fixing to get started with this and try to go as much in order as what I can throughout my life. But for most people it's just going to be useless because it's just common sense not to do some of these things. But for some reason I just can't help myself. So just watch. First thing that I learned was back whenever I was a teenager in school. If you're smoking in the restroom and you get wind that the principal or teacher is coming, if you take and run water over the cigarette and throw it in the trash can, make for certain that you run water over the fire on it, because if you only get water on the butt of it and it doesn't put the cigarette out, yeah, it only takes about a minute and the trash can will be fully engulfed in flames. Personal experience. Second off is, if you have a bright idea around midnight in hot summer when you're sitting around a bonfire to take a car hood or a truck hood and tie it to the back of another truck and pull somebody down a blacktop back road like you would do in the snow, it's not a real good idea. Sparks are real pretty, but it's very loud, and the hood does get hot very, very quickly. And when alcohol is involved, usually over the loudness of the scraping of the hood and you hollering to stop because your butt is on fire because it is burning the crap out of you, they think that you're having fun and they want to go a little bit faster, and then it just burns you up even that much more. So that's not a good thing. Wait for snow. Don't do it on blacktop, period. Another thing would be, if you are arrested and you are in the back seat of a state cop's car and they have you handcuffed behind your back, do not, and I repeat, do not take your hands from behind your back and pull them down and stick your legs through and bring them back in front of you and wait for the cop to go by and knock on the window and smile and wave at him. They don't like that. They really don't. You will find yourself with a face full of mud really, really fast. So that's why I'm saying it's useless knowledge. Most people have enough common sense not to do stuff like that, but my brain just don't work the same as a lot of people do, and sometimes I kind of find it amusing to do kind of some things like that. Another one would have to be, do not find yourself knocking on a cop's door, after you've already had a few, and still in talk with a few, and ask him to take you to jail. Yes, I did do that, and needless to say, he was very much obliged to take me to jail. And I think I was treated worse that night because I asked to go to jail than any night that I actually deserved to go to jail. So don't do that. That's not a good thing either. Another thing that I learned was back in school that, because I had this one teacher and I tried for half of the school year to be able to get a paddling by her, because for some reason I had this thing in school. I had to get a paddling by every teacher that there was, or I just wasn't doing what I needed to do, I guess. But that was just my mentality, and she never would. And finally I succeeded in getting a paddling from her after half the school year, and I'm going to tell you right now, that was probably the worst mistake that I ever made, because she only stood, or well, she only stands, she's not even as tall as Teresa. She goes to church with us. She's probably about 5'3", 5'2", and I mean, she was so short that she'd get back there, looked like she had a Louisville Slugger in her hand, and she would step into it and just bring it, and then she'd sit there and she'd rub the paddle on your butt for about 3 or 4 seconds, waiting for the sting to set in before she whacked you again. And she'd do it all 3 licks. And out of all the years I ever been paddled, she was the worst. But after she paddled me that first time, it seemed like I could sneeze wrong in her class, and I was out in the hall and I was getting 3 licks again. So I learned after that one that I didn't need to do that. If the teacher was nice enough not to give me paddlings, even though I was very disruptive in school, I will admit that. Did not listen worth a darn. Another thing would be, if you're going to tear down an old trailer or any kind of a structure, if there's several wall studs and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, you can wrap a rope or a chain or something like that around it and pull it down with a tractor or something. But if you're doing it with just a regular half-ton pickup truck, it's best to take a chainsaw and cut through a bunch of them suckers so that you're not trying to pull all of them down at once. I learned the hard way on that one. I had probably about 30 foot of lead line for slack, for me to run, or for me to be away from the trailer when I was fixing to pull it down. And I got a running start, and I'm going to tell you right now, I believe it raised the rear end of my truck up off the ground probably 2 foot in the air, spun it sideways. It slingshotted me back about 10 foot, threw me into the steering wheel, almost through the windshield. I was hurting bad. So that's another thing that you do not want to do. I know that most people, like I said, has enough common sense not to do these things like this, and would not go out of their way to try to get paddlings, would not go out of their way to try to go to jail, would not act stupid whenever they are going to jail, and And another thing is, if cops tell you to just go on ahead and get back in a vehicle and you'll be fine and you won't go to jail, and you keep on trying to get your friend or somebody else from going to jail, from let them go, and they end up telling you if you don't get back in the vehicle you're going to jail too, do not tell them that you don't really care if you go to jail or not, because you'll be going to jail with them. So them are a few life lessons that I have learned. There's a whole lot more, but I just thought y'all might find these a little bit more humorous and funny, because most people's not that ignorant to actually do some of them things, but I did. So y'all be safe out there. Another bit of Lee's Blue Cup adventures. So I'll try to have y'all some more adventures, some more stories or something about my past coming up, or actually try to catch me doing something. So alright, God bless. Like and subscribe, comment.